Many serial killers suspects live normal lives on the surface. They may work 9 to 5 jobs. They may be married with kids. These suspects are often analyzed by experts like former senior FBI profiler Mary Ellen O'Toole, and she joins us now. Mary Ellen, one expert on serial killers, said the thing about them is they're often extraordinarily ordinary, someone who can seem like the average Joe.
Well, that's true. And to others that see them, that work with them, maybe live next door to them, they don't put out any indicators that they are a violent sexual predator. And that's by design, because the individual wants to continue what they're doing. And they know that if they don't attempt to live a pro-social lifestyle, they may fall under suspicion. So that's really all by design, to have the house in the suburbs, to have family, to have a job, and to live a life that doesn't draw attention to themselves. It's the serial sexual killers who don't live that type of life that do tend to get caught quite a bit sooner.
And yet in this case, it seems like the mask may have slipped a little bit, because there were neighbors and people who ran into him, women who had encounters with him, who thought there was something about him that was definitely off.
Well, there's a big difference, though, between looking at someone thinking that they're off and then looking at someone just on the surface level and thinking, that's that Long Island serial killer. So that's the real distinction here, is that we see movies, we see TV shows, and we think we can look at somebody and just will know that they're a serial sexual killer. And that's certainly not the case. Yes, maybe odd, maybe different, maybe creepy, but it's a big leap to go to, oh, this is somebody that murdered other people.
Prolific serial killers tend to be very careful, even meticulous in covering up their crimes, and to live very compartmentalized lives. This is definitely true in this case.
It is true, but you were right with what you said a moment ago, and that is, after a period of time, it's like anything else in life. You can get sloppy or you can let your guard down. And I think once he's inside that family home where he had control pretty much over everything, I think that's where he probably had let his guard down in terms of leaving evidence behind, which is what they're looking for right now.
So many serial killers do have families and can appear to be loving parents and husbands. How is that possible? Square those two things for me.
Okay, so we know that approximately 95% of serial sexual killers, I'm not talking about people that kill in hospitals or people that are part of a gang and it's an initiation to kill other people. I'm talking about serial sexual killers. About 95% of them have a certain personality construct, and it is called psychopathy. The old-fashioned term was sociopath. There are 20 traits to someone that has this personality construct, and one of them is they have no empathy or concern for other people, and they don't bond with others. What that means is that they can be in relationships that appear to be loving from the outside looking in, but they still don't even bond on the level that your viewers are used to having in their own family life. They don't bond even with their own spouses and their own children. I've had serial killers tell me if they needed to kill their mother or their spouse or their own children, they would have done that. And they do that without really blinking, tell me that without blinking an eye. So it is their personality construct that causes them to be very cold and detached from everyone.
I'm curious, there were reports I heard just in the last hour that one of the things, he didn't say much after being arrested, but one of the things he did ask was, is there news coverage of this? You know, why do you think he is asking about that?
Because I think with this construct I'm talking about, these 20 traits, one of them is grandiosity. And I believe, based on what I'm hearing so far, that this is an individual that followed his murders, followed the investigation online and in the newspaper. And so he wants to continue to follow it. And there's an arrogance with this kind of individual that causes them to want to be kind of center stage, wants to put themselves right in the middle of this so people know who they are. And even though they're responsible for all of this carnage, they still want to be the center of attention.
Wow.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.